Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session of the course titled Academic Speaking and Presentation Skills. In today's session, we are going to learn about what is speech analysis, right? We are going to move ahead of the step of art of oratory. We have learned different factors of what are the art of oratory and how does we equip oneself with different oratory skills. With this, it is equally important to analyze the speech that are coming. So let's see further what we are going to learn in today's session. So first and foremost, we are going to see the significance of studying famous speeches. Why is it necessary for an individual to see, analyze and look out for relevant timeless speech that is there out in the internet? Then we are going to study identifying criteria of speech analysis, right? Whenever we talk about different speech, different speaker comes from different background, and therefore it is very much important to understand the criteria of what the speech can consist of. So that with that we are going to see the impact factor or the speech factor with different illustrations that are there, right? And lastly, we are going to compare the dynamic speech pattern, and at the end, we'll have a well-rounded summary of whatever we have learned through the analysis of different speech that we are going to hear today. So be ready. In today's session, what we are going to do is actually going to hear different speakers. Instead of learning theory of what could be a good orator, how one can become a good orator, what could be the criteria or the statistics of good oratory, right? Again, we are going to not just simply learn about the techniques in understanding in theory on page or on PPT. We are going to actually analyze and evaluate all of it on this screen. So hoping that I have picked up few examples. There could be various, right? I could have gone back to the time, bringing the speech of Winston Churchill or maybe Martin Luther King Jr. But however, what I have tried is, yes, those are very famous speeches and that definitely can be taken into consideration, but making the speeches more relevant in today's time. What would connect with the audience in today's era? And therefore, the orators that I have picked are of different age, and with different age, these people come from different background. So hoping that you would be able to catch up with what I have brought to you, right? Let's study the topic.
So we start with the topic of significance of studying famous speeches. Okay. We have seen in the oratory that there are oratory skills that a person need to perform while preparing the speech or content draft, or even while during the delivery, the pronunciation and this and that. These are the oratory skills. But however, when it comes to speeches, right, let's understand how orators function. Why is it necessary for us to, understand the speeches that they have given? Try to decode the pattern of those speeches so that it becomes more easier and more familiar for us to do the same when the time comes. So therefore, significance of studying famous speeches is telling us the importance of why we need to analyze these speeches which has already been given. We might know few of the people, we might not know. Again, as I have spoken in the introduction, I'm going to say that this illustrations that we are going to study are not going to be of the age-old people, but the contemporary ones. So why are we going to learn it? What is the requirement of analyzing this or studying the speeches? Right? Famous speech demonstrate effective use of language, tonality, and rhetorical devices like metaphors, repetition, storytelling, and everything. Right? So therefore, the very first thing that comes is when we are talking about academic speaking or presentation, speeches are a part of it. Okay, they are no anyways included into a formal way of addressing people. So such as presentations, such as group discussion, speeches are one of those. But while we are studying this, what we see is the use of language. which kind of words are used, which kind of vocabulary is used, what is the repetition that is made on purpose, what is the tonality, right? In the last session, we understood that there is a tonality of Mahatma Gandhi, which is a quite respectful tone that he picks up in all of his speeches, and this is the common factor that he has. So it is not only the Quit India speech that he gives in around 1947, but also the prior speeches of how Simon should go back, or maybe the Dandi march that he does, and before that Dandi march, right? The non-cooperative movement that he made. All of those speeches are very commonly identified that though there is a stern voice, but there is a respectful tone and address to the audience that he is making. At the same point of time, when we study the speech of Martin Luther King Jr., he has an motivational and inspirational tone. So definitely the call of action could be different, the purpose could be different, but however, the choice of words that each one makes, the emphasis that each one makes, everyone is going to, each speech that we study is going to teach us different use of the language tonality and rhetorical devices. So that is why it is important. Second, we have it also helps to improve public speaking and persuasive ability. So while we are saying that we are learning this academic language or skills to persuade people to do something, see, any of us could become managers, could become directors, could become a company owner, any one of you could have your own startup. So there would be time and again that you will require this persuasive ability. Persuasive means to convince people to do what you want, right? So be it you working into somebody else's company and becoming a team leader, or you having your own company, right? All of these will impact. And this persuasive ability, if you want to increase, you need to know how good leaders talk. You need to know how good, orators speak. You need to know how do they connect with the audience, who they know and who they do not know. And that is going to be more helpful for the longer run, right? The speeches that we are going to analyze reflects social, political, historical context of their time, right? So whatever time that we have today, we are going to see only recent time. So what is that which connects the people? Though I and you are not very much involved into the terms of politics or this or that, but however, whatever the speeches that we are going to read is going to have an impact on us. How some speaker is able to do it, how an orator is able to do it, what is there exactly in the speech that connects us to them, right? That is what we need to understand. Again, reading this famous speeches can boost confidence and determination in personal and professional life. So if we have this persuasive abilities, if we have confidence in the language that we use, if we know the tonalities, if we know the vocabularies to press and punch at exact time, what it gives us is, it gives us confidence, it gives us determination to do something better, to go ahead, right? So all of these are the significance of understanding, the studying or analyzing famous speeches that are there around, right? It is very necessary, whether we want or not, whether we are going to vote for it or not. It is necessary for us to be aware about the geopolitical dynamic that is there right now, and everything that happens in India has repercussion in various other countries. Everything that happens in other countries has a repercussion on market, has a repercussion on what is going to be impact in India and onto us. So therefore, we are all correlated, and that correlation is what makes it more significant to understand the speeches given by people who are in authority, who are leading the market, who are the key holders of progress. So analyzing speeches helps understand different viewpoints, persuasive techniques, and logical arguments. It will help you to critically think what is correct, what is not correct, what are these people saying, are is it making sense or not, do I need to know something more? It is going to make you aware, updated, and at the same point of time help you critically think, right, of whatever comes to your end. So that is what significance of studying famous speeches is. Again, it encourages deeper reflection on important global and social issues. Okay. Whenever we are talking about global and social issues, societal issues, there are multiple things, common factors that every country, every national, every state, and every kind of gender has faced. So therefore, these common factors appears in speeches, and that is why it is required for us to see the global connection as well as the societal connection that appears in speeches, and that will be the coexisting factor. We need to understand that, and once the time comes, we ourselves need to correlate it in our own speeches. Okay, so it is it encourages deeper reflections. It helps us to ease the question of what is life, right? And I hopefully believe that all of us, we are studying, we are educating, we are earning, and we are doing everything just to comprehend what life is. So the speeches, some way or the other, gives you those deeper reflections. Famous speeches introduce powerful words and expression, enriching one's vocabulary. As I stated, there is a use of particular language. There is a choice of words that the speaker put in, right? There is a repetition of specific phrases. So this is going to teach you to be more powerful in the expressions of your own thoughts and ideas, right? So not necessarily that every time you will go and give out speeches, but at the same point of time, even in the common day-to-day use, right, you will learn certain phrases that will help you to express yourself more clearly, more powerfully than laying confused. You know is a common phrase that people will use only until they do not know the exact words to say what they are feeling, what they are understanding, what they are comprehending, or what information is being levied to somebody else. So therefore, famous speeches are required to be understood because it gives us powerful words expression, right? We need to also understand how it helps in learning the structure thoughts effectively in writing and in speech. As we have seen in the skills of orator, right? What are the oratory skills? It's not only choice of words, but it is also all the collected data need to be organized, need to be put in a particular format, right? A structure that effectively impacts the audience who is listening, so therefore that rearrangement, the structuring is also very effectively required. So that learning of where to put what that makes more impact is the significance, is the importance of studying the famous speeches. So let's move ahead by seeing the factors that are going to affect, right? Next is identifying the criteria of speech analysis. So, what is the criteria of speech analysis? There should be a purpose, there should be a style, and there should be a connect. When you have these three right at the core of your speech, right, has to be a purpose of why you are delivering whatever you're wanting to deliver. There has to be an aim to, share the piece of information, connect your personal dots, or even there has to be an agenda, in short, right? And that agenda has to be fulfilled by giving meaning to whatever you are saying. So it cannot be just simply saying or bluttering of words or statements, but however, connecting all of those statements together, it should make a meaningful, delivery. And that ability to serve meaning is, going to give purpose to your speech. That ability to fulfill goal, to inform, entertain, or persuade. You want to persuade somebody, call for an action that, okay, this is why you need to not cooperate. This is why you need to, quit so and so movement. So, any kind of an action that we are calling, it must have a deeper meaning, right? It must be co associated to the society and the needs of society, or maybe the needs of organization, or maybe the needs of the team that you are leading with. So therefore, there has to be a purpose, and with that purpose, there has to be a style, your own very style, right? Delivering with impact, which is basically the use of simile, metaphors, tonality, and pauses, right? Once we start analyzing these speeches, once we start, categorizing the key qualities of the speech, we need to understand there is a use of, language which is specifically used to influence, to persuade. And if the purpose is to persuade or entertain, there will be different similes, metaphors that will be used. The tonality will be very different from each other, and there will be pauses which are meaningfully made and not awkwardly paused. So therefore, we need to identify this criteria, right? Three major criteria that every speech must has is a purpose, has a style, and has a connect. Okay, with only this purpose, style, and connect, we are able to bring the required or the desired result of whatever we are saying. So connect means basically association with known and unknown, right? We need to build that bridge. We need to make connection with the audience, and ability to emotionally correlate with the audience is what is going to help us connect with the audience, right? So these are the three major criterias of the speech analysis. It's not only about these three purposes. In and all, any speech that we are going to see will always have a purpose, or a call for an action, will always have its individual style, could have repetition, not have repetition of phrases that are repeated. There are vocabularies that are strong and high. It is targeted to a particular audience who already knows what the thing the person is speaking about, right? So the message is very clear over here, and then connect with your personal experiences, your correlations, but it should not be more digressive. So when I say personally correlate, digression is a basic malpractice that happens, but let's see to it that it is not very commonly misassociated. So connect, emotionally correlate, give out personal examples, but at the same point of time, it should not be more than more digressive. So first we are going to study an illustration. Okay, illustration of the speech. Whatever you see on the screen, a speech can never be in pointers, but the reason why I've put it in pointers is that you are not only able to see it in different format, but however you understand that this is the differing of idea. Okay, the message is very clear, loud and clear over here, that the person is speaking about the climate affairs. This is a speech that was given by Greta Thunberg. So the image of the lady that you see holding a mic, her name is Greta Thunberg, a very young individual, okay, climate activist who has made her name. She participated in the climate affairs meeting, and globally she addressed this in front of a huge audience and a mass who has recorded her. Right. So, what was her? Due to this speech, she became. Though I am here living in India, I know who Greta Thunberg is, and why is she fighting about climate awareness. So, illustration of her speech is, it goes like this. Okay, I'm going to just read what you can see on the screen right now. It is the part of her speech. It is not the whole speech, and that is why you can see the ellipses at the end of it, right? This is just a part of her speech while she was saying what she was saying. So it starts with Greta Thunberg saying, "My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us, young people, for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams, my childhood, with your empty words. And yet, I am one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystem are collapsing. We are in the beginning of mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?" And she continues this. She now and again talks about how dare you. And she's not, asking this question to you personally. She's asking this question to government. How dare you talk about economic growth? How dare you talk about money? How dare you talk about infrastructure? How dare you talk about anything else, right? That is her whole speech. Anything else apart from climate change. And then when it comes to climate change, you expect our young people who must be playing around in the playground, who must be free to go in a, an oceanic places, uh, live near the beaches, enjoy the mountain ranges. But every now and then we hear the news of landslides, we hear the news of, floods, we hear the news of various other, problems that are faced by people. And you have snatched all of us, our happiness, our childhood, our dreams, and everything only by your empty words. You promise us something, you promise us that it is going to be a safer world in terms of economic. Let us at least exist. And that is what she's trying to say, right? But all of these she shares with so simple. If you see the words, it is so simple. It is not you in terms of you as person, you in terms of those who are in charge of this, keeping place safe, clean, uh, paying attention to crisis of environment. So the government, the authorities is what she's addressing to, and wonderfully addressed, right? My tonality might change, but her is a swift tone with a strong voice of how dare you, right? And that is the illustration one. I believe that we have learned, right? My dreams. She's talking about her. She's connecting herself with it, and then she's talking. So, we need to understand what, she being the young girl trying to say over here to us. Okay, she was born in Sweden, and she might be, being born in the year 2003. She might be 21 or 23 years old, right? But however, we need to understand, 21 years old, I guess, not 3, 2, or 21, right? Her um, style of delivery, right? Recently saw that the reason why we need to study the speeches of people is it is going to help us in multiple ways. There is always a purpose of giving the speech. Speech innately consists of three things: purpose, style, and connect. What do we see in this illustration? Right? Though she being in Sweden was able to connect with people in India, she was able to connect with everyone who was young, bold enough, and who cared about who cared about, climate rather than being economic, and economic development and growth economist. Okay, so therefore you need to understand this, that very important to identify that this particular speech, my message, my she's trying to connect herself, right? Then she's trying to connect the youth, which is around, and then she's trying to connect economic growth with it. And whenever she's trying to say something, she's trying to say it to the people are suffering, right? She's not talking about herself, but everyone who is around her and who is like her and who cares about, climate change. And then she says those who even do not care are also suffering. So it is the government's duty to, fulfill all of this. And that audacity, that authenticity, that style, you can see an anger, you can see a rage that is there inside this young girl, right? And that is why her speech became very famous and well known across the globe. So therefore, this is what the impact of good speech is. What age you are of doesn't matter, right? Somebody of your same age, somebody who is younger to you, can be worldwide known. This speech was given in the UN session, right, of climate affairs, as I said. And it, gave her global recognition. So this is what good speech is. The purpose over here is to pay attention to the climate change. The style she used was aggressive, and the connect she made was multiple connections, right? And that gave her reflection, that made the speech, outstanding. Let's move towards another example, right? Illustration 2. We know this guy, right? He's from your very own field, which is your computer field, right? Computer applications, and the name of the person is Bill Gates. Now, this speech that you see on the screen was, again, it is not in the, different paragraphs are put as different points over here. These are not the pointers, these are part of the speech. Again, this is not the whole speech. We do not have the time and liberty to discuss out the whole speech, but however, what Bill Gates says in this speech and when does he delivers this speech? This speech he delivers at an alumni desk of Harvard. Okay, being an alumni of Harvard, he was invited as the guest, and then at that moment he speaks about what education is, what students, and it speaks directly to the students, being an Harvardian. So then he says in the middle of the script, right? One of my biggest memory of Harvard came in January 1975 when I made a call from Curie House, a company in Albusque that had begun making the world's first personal computers. I offered to sell them software. I worried that they would realize I was just a student in a dorm and hang up on me. Instead, they said, "We are not quite ready. Come see us in a month," which was a good thing because we hadn't written the software yet. From that moment, I worked day and night on this little extra credit project that marked the end of my college education and the beginning of a remarkable journey with Microsoft. What I remember above all the Harvard was being in the mindset of so much energy and intelligence. It could be exhilarating, intimidating, sometimes even discouraging, but always challenging. It was an amazing privilege, and I thought I left early. I was transformed by my years at Harvard, the friendship I made, and the ideas I worked on. But taking a serious look back, I do have one big regret. I left Harvard with no real awareness of awful inequities in the world, the appalling disparities of health and wealth and opportunity that condemned millions of people to leave of despair. I learned a lot here at Harvard about new ideas in economics and politics. I got great exposure to advances being made in the sciences. But humanity's greatest advances are not in discoveries, but in those discoveries are appealed to reduce inequity. Whether through democracy, through strong public education, quality healthcare, economic opportunities, reducing inequity in the highest human achievement. I left campus knowing little about millions of young people cheated out on educational opportunities here in this country, and I knew nothing about millions of people living in unspeakable poverty and disease in developing countries. Now, this is a man who studied in Harvard, right? Again, speaks with his age of experience. Unlike Greta Thunberg, he uses, higher vocabulary to speak. And that is what it is important. I believe he goes back to his own personal experiences. There is a purpose to connect. Purpose is that people must not give up trying. There are other people who requires the knowledge that you have, the opportunities that you have, and at the same point of time, the challenges that you face might be discouraging, but it is rewarding as it turns out to himself, right? He is the owner of Microsoft. Now, this is what a good speech looks like, right? What I remember when I left Harvard. Though he's talking about himself, he's more talking about healthcare, he's more talking about poverty, he's more talking about opportunities, he's more talking about motivation, inspiration of how each and every individual young being in college given an opportunity, a smallest task of a project or a credit course, he's talking about so many things. That is the connecting multiple layers, connecting multiple ideologies, and giving out a purpose of inspiration or motivation. And that is his style. He's humongous, right? His style is what? His style is also personal. I did it, right? Similar to Greta Thunberg. See how people come out to be globally acknowledged, recognized. I'm not saying Bill Gates got recognized because of this speech. I'm saying that because he's recognized, and though he is recognized and worldwide known, he's using this personal anecdotes to connect with the audience, right? So there is a purpose, there is a style, and there is a connect. We need to identify it. This is how, we analyze great speech. This is how we use, see, do you see the structure of organization of thoughts? Right? Starting from how he started his remarkable journey of Microsoft, he started talking about friendship, he started talking about, early project, and then he talked about not just, how he worked day and night, but he talked about poverty and opportunities and human achievements. So it's all drawn a line how he wants to connect everything, right? And that is what we need to understand, and that is what we need to see. We need to see that, these are the common aspects that are said. So comparing the dynamic speech pattern, dynamic is something which is versatile, something that has multiple layers. Dynamic is something which is, having, variety of, content. So when we see two different speech, one of, motivation and inspiration, another of, again, call for action to do something, a motivation to do towards, climate changes that are happening, both of them, the pattern is, what we need to identify. There are facts that are given, yes, in both the scripts, yes. Personal associations given, yes, in both the scripts, yes. Call for action, yes, one is calling for climate change attention, and another one is calling for attention to your privileges, attention to what we already have in hand, and utilizing best to move forward. So therefore, there is always a call for action. There is a fact that is presented and personal association. Speech pattern could vary. This is the speech pattern in the two speeches that we have seen, right? We may bring out different speeches. So there's Taylor Swift who is going being a singer. Over here, this was a computer man, right? Then Taylor Swift being a singer, she gives the speech and she says that how we need to dream big, and we need to not just dream big, we need to believe in our dreams, and it is okay to fail. And multiple people, big Priyanka Chopra giving the speech, right? Every speech that we see will have this common speech pattern of fact, personal association, and call for action, telling people to do something, to wake up, to get inspired, to do something in return of whatever they have said. So that is why we need to see that there's a purpose, a style, and a connect. And with all of it, we adorn those style and purpose and connect with facts, personal association, and a call for action. So in total, the six major things: purpose, style, connect, facts, personal association, and call for action will enhance your knowledge of oratory skills, will help you to develop better speeches, and will give you desired results of whatever you are participating the speech in, right? So that is what this particular analyzing speech means, right? We could have seen videos, but instead of that, when you read yourself, right, you read it and you make sense of it, it gives a greater impact. So hopefully you have understood all of it. Moving towards the summary of it.
Okay, here is last not the list, the well-rounded summary that we were expecting, right? Long session might be, but understanding various speeches, have these people have delivered their speeches, right? And comparing all of it, we have got a brief idea of how we must, while we are looking at our own oratory skills, we must analyze certain things ahead than the audience does. So reflecting on the timeless speech can help deliver content better. Study of proper speech structure gives idea for better content development to be used in the speeches. Again, analyzing relevant oratory skills can influence and affect the target audience as required. The importance to choose an apt style of delivery and create your individual key style as well is quite necessary. So these are the crucial points that we must know about this today's session, right? We all know and we have all learned that no matter the age, You can reach out to various large audience. Again, it is not only now in today's time of technology, it is not that your speech is limited to the audience that is just sitting ahead of you, right? Your speeches are more relevant, going to be, on air, on internet, and going to be connected with large variety of multicultural people. So be aware of what we speak. Again, at the same point of time, be importantly note that this is how it is required to speech analyze certain things, right? Thank you so much for holding your patience in today's session, and hoping to see you in the next class. Thank you.